This is Dr. Gaurav Deka. I am a transpersonal regression therapist, a trauma resolution analyst, and a family constellation facilitator and a trainer. So, a lot of people have been asking me what exactly is the knowing field. The fact that when we do a family constellation and we put up elements in the constellation or we bring in people in the constellation, how is it that people are able to sense the feelings that are appropriate to the people that they are representing? So what happens in a classical constellation setup is you come to me as a client. If I am a facilitator, I will then ask you to pick up from a group of people who you would want to represent people from your family. For example, you may ask someone XYZ to become your father. You may ask another person to be your mother. You may ask another person to be your child. You may ask another person to be your grandparent. And then when they are placed in front of you to interact with each other, stand there, take their posture, slowly and steadily you will see that they will start behaving, expressing and feeling the feelings that are appropriate to the people whom you have represented them. Now, how does that happen? It is a mysterious phenomenon, to be truthful. Now, the founder of Family Constellation, Bert Hellinger, said that there is a field of memory that surrounds and remains with all of us, and we carry it with us. So, there is another person, a scientist, Rupert Sheldrake, who went beyond the traditional concepts of science and laid down the foundation of this field, also known as the Morphic Field or the morphogenic field. And he gave the example of a flock of birds. So when a flock of birds are flying together, they maintain a harmony while they are flying. So even though they move at great speeds, none of the birds collide to each other. But then there is a rhythm of the birds flying together that is maintained. I'm sure you have seen that. Similarly with a school of fish, they are also, they move in groups, but one member does not collide to the other member even though they move fast. So there is a group dynamics that is maintained. There is a field around this whole group that carries the movement and the rhythm. Many people have also confirmed as well as conjectured that this could be the basis of telepathy. Why? Because again, in packs of wolves or groups of animals, also when one of the animal or one of the wolf moves away from the group, their contact with the group is not broken. In fact, this field that binds them together gets stretched like an elastic. And this dynamics of the field where everyone belongs and everyone is included is seen in all forms of groups and all forms of organizations. Even in social groups, this phenomenon is seen that people are included in a field, and the field carries the energy in totality of the group members. So for example, in human life, we say that guilt is the price you pay for love. And that is what Bert Hellinger, the founder of Family Constellation, also said. So if guilt is the price you pay for love, if you do something that does not allow you to remain in the group, for example, you go out of the group and do something that is not in alignment with the belief system of the group. It could even be going out of the group and marrying someone from a different race, caste, community, country, whatever. It could be someone who might be having a different sexuality or who might have a different orientation, and the group does not conform to the ideas of such existence. It could be someone who might just move out of the group because they have done a heinous crime like a murder or a loot or a burglary. So they have done some violent crime and moved out of the group because they are not included in the group and they are excluded. However, the energy of that member, for whatever reason, beyond right and wrong, is present in the entire field of the family. and the field keeps on expressing it, the field remembers it. So we see that even in insects like bees and ants, this morphic field and morphogenic field is present. That is how they exist together in groups. And therefore, when one ant discovers a cube of sugar, the entire group of ants come there. Of course, there are pheromones at play, and the ant releases these chemical substances so that others can also come over. But then, isn't that also a binding factor in the group, the pheromones? Isn't the signals of the bee also a binding factor for the entire group of bee to exist together? So yes, there is something that binds members in a group. It is also seen in physics, and in quantum physics it's shown that how two electrons who belong to the same system, two particles rather, who belong to the same system, when they are separated by distance, they are still connected, and it is called quantum entanglement. And such entanglement also exists in family systems. So whenever a family member suffers exclusion for whatever reason, whether they have committed a crime, whether they have not conformed to group dynamics, whether they have married outside the group, whether they have been victims of violent war, whether they have died at childbirth, whether they have committed suicide, and because of which they are not remembered, they are forgotten, or they are excluded from the family system, the group, as well as the family field, let us call it the family soul, remembers it. And when the family soul remembers it as a whole, that is present in the field of the family. So when we set up a constellation, then that excluded part and the excluded member shows up in the constellation. Many a times, in fact every time, wherever there is exclusion, someone in the subsequent generation takes up the burden of that exclusion, as in the burden of the fate of the person who was excluded. And that is how entanglements form. So between this excluded element and the person in the subsequent generation, there is a connection, a bond that is formed, which cannot be defined in any other way other than putting it like this, that there is a sense of blind love, a magnetic elastic force that binds the two, and it shows up in a family constellation. And when we do a family constellation, it is the field which brings to light different members of the family and the dynamics that is present in all of them. So that is what the knowing field is. We call it the knowing field because the moment we put elements in a constellation, everything comes to light. Everyone is aware that what is happening, whose behavior is what is the dynamics. If one parent is closer to the sun, then that parent stands close to the sun. If one parent is further away from the sun in real life, actually stands further away in the constellation. So it is the field that brings up the memory. So we have to understand that memory is not limited to our body and our brain. Memory extends beyond our body and our brain and exists in this all-knowing field. And we all carry this field with us in this form where it is stretching like an elastic and is ever present, omnipresent with all of us. I hope this video was helpful. If you have been following my channel, great. If you haven't so far, please do subscribe to my channel, and I will come up with more ideas and more videos on constellation, regression work, and trauma resolution. Thank you so much.